This car like pulls up and then throws my younger brother out, and he's all beat up. Pretty much when I got caught, I got locked up from 14 to 18.
Who was it that finally got you on the path to fighting professionally?
Woman that weighed 118 pounds that whooped my ass. So fighters, you don't make money from fighting. Promote yourself and your brand, who you are.
I am joined today by Dex Montenegro, MMA fighter, Flashy Dex. Welcome to the Eden Group Podcast.
How you doing, sir?
Doing great, doing
What's
great.
going on, everybody?
So we were introduced by a mutual friend, Reed Kitagawa. He is a financial advisor, head of Konzo Capital. You and Reed grew up. Tell me where you grew up. Was it in Hawaii? Was it here in Washington?
It was here in Washington. I think that we were at the McDonald's in East Lake, I believe. And I think either he worked there or something like that.
Yeah, but he did.
Yeah. So, we were young kids. We were just going around and causing problems and all that stuff. And I think that something was about to happen where I think there was like a party or something like that, or a group of people were they're about to get into a big brawl, and we were there, and Reed was there. He kind of intervened, and he started talking pidgin, like a Hawaiian native English language, and then we just started vibing with him, and then that's how we connected pretty much. It was off of like some high school brawl drama stuff. It's crazy. It's funny.
That's crazy. So today you are a professional fighter and a teacher of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. So I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but also Bang Muay Thai. So the Bang Muay Thai system is under Dwayne Ludwig, Sensei Dwayne Ludwig, and MMA. I do like MMA stuff too.
Okay. Tell me, how did you get into fighting? When did that start?
So basically, my older brother was a stud wrestler, state champion, all that. And growing up, he used to just beat me up all the time. So I got into a lot of trouble myself too. So I needed something to keep me out of trouble, but I also wanted to be able to defend myself just in case my older brother try to get at me again. So I started boxing, and from boxing, it just went from there pretty much. I started becoming more disciplined. I knew that I need to be straight. I used to smoke cigarettes when I was younger, drank. I never did drugs too much. I tried some stuff here and there. Weed, I tried it here and there, but I wasn't too heavy in the drug scene. It was more about the smoking cigarettes pretty much when I was younger. But like as far as drinking, all that never was really a problem for myself. But I knew I had to get straight. So when I started boxing, I just stuck with it, and I ended up being pretty good. So
how old were you when you started boxing?
18. Like, do you want to know my story or just the whole thing with fighting? I'd love to know
your story as much as you want to share.
2 brothers, so 3 boys total. Mom and dad was in the picture at the time. My dad was, he's a different kind of dude. He's abusive towards my mom and towards my brothers and I, but it was also like a good guy. But we didn't know that he was actually selling drugs. And we used to take family trips to California, to Disneyland, Universal Studios, all that stuff. And it was like yearly trips out there, but frequent throughout the year. And we didn't know at the time that what he was actually doing was he was shuffling drugs from there to Hawaii. Anyhow, we grew up into that. We thought we had a good life. And then my dad ended up getting locked up when I was 7 years old, I think. So it was just a single mom, 3 boys, working 2 to 3 jobs at a time. So she was barely home. And my older brother had to raise my younger brother and I. So I think he was 13 at the time when my dad got locked up and my mom was working all those jobs. So that's why he had to be the one to be like the father figure role, right? But for some reason, the way he raised me was opposite from how he raised my younger brother. With me, it was more about violence. With my younger brother, he kind of babied my younger brother. So it was pretty nuts, man, how he raised me. I got the shit end of things growing up. So when I say he used to beat me up, I'm not talking about just physically like beating me up. He used to make me clean up like dog crap with my bare hands. Like 12 by 12 square tiles. I had to sweep every tile. And I couldn't sweep over any tiles. I had to beat every tile in the whole house. That's how he'd make me clean. So it was pretty rough. It was pretty rough growing up in the house. Got into a lot of trouble out there. Got into gangs up there in Hawaii. Got into a lot of fights. So we used to steal like a lot of chickens, like roosters, because like in Hawaii, cockfighting was big out there. like money. You know what I mean? You make a lot of money with the roosters and all that. So we used to steal roosters and mopeds and get into fights. A lot of trouble with my cousin and I. My cousin's also a fighter too. He fights for Bellator. He has his own gym out there in Utah, and he's like actually doing really well. And it's crazy how we like intertwined back together again because we stopped talking once I left the islands. But we just recently reconnected. My brother's passed away, but we went to this Hawaiian family's house. I think we took we stole a moped, and we jumped in, took like one of their most expensive chickens, roosters. It was like a $20,000 rooster. It was worth a lot of money, man. And we booked it. And then my younger brother, he stayed there in front of the house, and he was just sitting there, and then we just kept running anyways. And we like the guy took the moped, and the other people was on foot running with the rooster. And then like I think an hour later, this car like pulls up and then throws my younger brother out, and he's all beat up. And then the next day, they knew who we were already. They knew our family. The next day, one of their relatives talked to my older brother and said, "Hey, if your brother continues to do this shit, like we're gonna send him to the sugarcane field." And if you ask any Hawaiians or anybody from Hawaii what that means, it's like when you smell the sugarcane burning out there, there's rumors that they're throwing bodies in there, like the Hawaiian mafia or whatever. But that's pretty much what they told us. So my mom said that she had to get me out of here and my younger brother out there. So she shipped us out here to Washington. We got out here to Washington, lived with my uncle. My younger brother and I lived with my uncle for about 3 months. But it was in a studio, and his studio was like packed with all kinds of stuff. And he was gone all day because he worked for Boeing. So we'd be left inside the apartment all day pretty much. We didn't know nothing about this place, right? 12 and 11 years old, I think. He sent us to Issaquah to live with my cousins, and my uncle, and my aunt. And then once we got here, it was pretty much downhill after that because Issaquah is like the suburbs of Washington. When but we thought that anything other than Hawaii, we thought that you had to be like a gangster, right? So our mentality is like, oh, it doesn't matter where we're at. Everybody's like gangsters out here. This is the mainland. This is where foreigners out here, right? So we thought we had to live up to certain expectations, and I don't blame my cousin. She was younger too, but she kind of played that too with the whole thing where she's like, you guys fuck with me, I'm gonna tell my cousin. Sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss or not, but
Well,
if
yeah,
you guys,
we'll handle it. Yeah, it'll
okay,
be fine.
if you guys mess with me, I'm gonna tell my cousin. My cousin beat you up. So we had that. That's what we had to live up to. As if you mess with her or mess with us, we're gonna get you kind of thing, right? And it wasn't even like that for us. It was more, we just didn't know how we're supposed to be out here. We were young, 11, 12-year-olds. I went to school here in Issaquah for like a month in middle school, a month and a half. And then was at a school dance, and I got into a big fight with like some twin brothers. And these guys were like big, like huge, way bigger than me. I ended up like beating one of them up pretty bad. I ended up getting expelled from all the school districts out here. So Issaquah, Redmond, North Bend, Renton too, even Bellevue, Kirkland, all like East Side and all that. So I had to go to
Wow.
school. Yeah, the whole thing. I got expelled from all of it. Private. I couldn't go to private schools out here or nothing like that. My mom had to get me. She wanted me to go to school, so she got me in school in Seattle. And once I started going to school in Seattle, my aunt taught me how to ride the metro bus to get to Seattle from Issaquah. One day, like I was sitting at Westlake Mall waiting for my bus, and then a bunch of like maybe 3 or 4 kids came around and they were like, talking to me. And then after that, it was like game over. I ended up joining the gang and all that stuff, and I got into like a lot of trouble. Was getting locked up every month for stealing cars, fighting, but it was mostly stealing cars and boosting cars and selling cars, selling stolen cars and parts and all that stuff. I was getting locked up almost every month from 13 to 14.
Hmm.
And then at 14, I was boosting the car, but I had a gun on me. And pretty much when I got caught, I got locked up from 14 to 18. So I did 4 years straight after that. And then when I got out is when I gotta do something different. So I got into boxing. So I started boxing, and I had my first kid too at 18, 19. And then my second kid at 20 and my third kid at 22. So I pretty much went from being a juvenile kid, delinquent, right,
Your
to
dad.
a dad, to being a parent, and then that's it. And then that's what I've been till now. I'm like 40 years old now.
And now you're at a nephew's baseball game
Now I'm at Nephew's baseball
right
game, and
now.
I'm right now, and I'm talking to troubled youth that's locked up. And I've fought many fights. I've won titles. I've been to the biggest stages. My ex-wife's been into the UFC, done all that stuff.
When you got out the final time, what gym did you join? What was that in Issaquah? Was that in Seattle? And who was it that finally got you on the path to fighting professionally versus recreationally?
It was myself. So when I got out, it was a boxing gym first. When I got out, I went to Renton. So I went to this gym called Credit Boxing Gym in Renton on Rainier. Before that, I was in hospitals for like a year. So I taught myself how to box first. And then I found a boxing gym after that. So I went to the gym. They were like, "What gym did you come from?" I'm like, "My garage." I was in my garage for like a year. I was in hospitals. I just trained myself. I watched tape, did all my own thing, and bought bags and did built up a whole little gym for my garage, and that's it. And then they thought I was lying, but they ended up liking me, so I ended up staying over there and started boxing. Started doing like fought golden gloves, did all that stuff for them. I didn't turn pro until I started doing MMA pretty much. But so the whole boxing thing was like from what 2002 to 2007, I think. And then my cousin Rex moved up here from Hawaii, and MMA was really like a big thing in Hawaii. So he talked me into getting to MMA. He's like, "Bro, you should do MMA." And we've always had like this rival thing where back in Hawaii, whenever he'd see me on the street from somewhere else, he started breakdancing, call me out, and we always tried. It's crazy, man. It's like stupid. It's stupid and it's
Oh, that's
crazy.
hilarious.
So he called me out about the fighting things. Like, "Bro, you should do MMA. It's way better and harder than boxing." I was like, "Nah, man, boxing's way harder." He's like, "Oh, MMA is harder. You gotta do all this stuff." I was like, "Okay, sure, I'll do it." So I went with him to the gym, and then I ended up like excelling in MMA, And then he left the gym that he brought me to, and he went to go train at a different gym after that. I was like, "Isn't that crazy, bro?"
That's
I love
crazy.
my cousin, man. I love my cousin. Nothing but love for my cousin, but I should be thanking him, right? Because
Hmm.
if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have gotten to MMA. The boxing thing, the fighting thing was my older brother. MMA was because of my cousin. If he didn't call me out, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have accomplished the things that I accomplished in MMA. So
Well, thank
it's
God for
funny.
your
It's
cousin,
funny.
man.
Yeah, it's funny talking about this story, man. It's funny saying all this stuff out loud because I'm 40 years old now, and hearing that out loud is so ridiculous, man. Like,
Yeah, the craziest things can just change the trajectory of your life for the better and for the worse.
really, it really does, bro. But the guy that it's just wild, man. This whole thing is wild. This whole life, this journey is so wild because the guy that I'm fighting for now was my first MMA coach, and then we had a big falling out too, actually. And then everything circled back, and now my fighters are fighting for him now, and I'm still fighting currently, so I fight for him too. And our goal is to have my last fight under his promotion. But the falling out that I had with him was a pretty big falling out here in Washington.
So I'm curious. Explain to me what that means. Who you're fighting. So you say you're fighting for him. Is this like music where you're on someone's label and they get like a piece of the purse? Like, what does it mean when you say you're fighting for someone and you have fighters fighting for you? What does that mean?
Are you familiar with like the UFC, all that boxing, nothing like that?
Very superficially. I've watched a few UFC fights, but I'm not a like hardcore fan.
So like the UFC is a promotion, right? So the promoter there is Dana White. Like for boxing, there's promoters, but there's organizations like WBC, WBA, IBF. I don't know. I keep spacing on the fourth one, but there's four organizations. But you have promoters like Bob Arum, Don King, Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya, all that. So you have promoters. Then you have the fighters. So the fighters are fighting for those promoters. So Joe DeRabio is the promoter. His promotion is called Combat Games MMA. So his promotion is Combat Games MMA, and he's the one that owns it and runs it. So we're
Got it.
fighting under his banner. But
Got it.
there's other promotions right here. So when we say we fight for a promotion, that's what we mean. But as far as like my fighters fighting under me, I'm just their coach, and that's it. I try not to take any credit from any of the fighters because they're the ones that's putting in the work. I help. My other coaches, they help too, but at the end of the day, they're the ones that puts in the work, right? So I would rather not take any credit for the things that they do. If they want to give me a shout out and all that, then cool. If not, I don't care.
I got you. Okay, so when you say you're under someone's promotion, essentially they're the ones getting the eyeballs, they're the ones booking the venue, they're the ones filling the seats, they're the ones setting up the event, right? The spectacle. And you are the spectacle. You are there fighting under their promotion. Is that what that means?
Yeah. Yes.
All right, so boxing was from about 2002 2007.
Mhm.
MMA, did that happen after 2007 or was there some overlap there during your boxing phase?
No. As soon as my cousin came and he was saying all that stuff, talking all that crap, then we just went straight into MMA.
Okay.
I stopped boxing completely. So But I was still an amateur for boxing, so I didn't turn pro until 2009, I think, or 2010. It's you can Google it and see when I turned pro. But so I went straight into MMA, like MMA training. I didn't do any other disciplines. I just went straight into MMA, and I think for some maybe that's good. Like my guys right now, when I say my guys, the fighters fighting or the guys that I'm coaching, they have a little background in other stuff too. But typically, you want to have somebody that has a background in something, right? Right now, the best base, according to people, is wrestling is the best base. I think you go wrestling and then Muay Thai and then boxing and then jiu-jitsu or jiu-jitsu and then boxing or something like that. There's like orders, but who knows what is the best art to start off in first.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not a natural wrestler myself, and I'm out wrestling guys that's great wrestlers. So like MMA is just it's just different. It's a different sport, man. And I'm a boxer naturally, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah, that was your first art form.
yeah, so
How many years from starting MMA to your first amateur fight, and then how many years from your first amateur fight to your first professional fight?
I think I trained for like 3 months, man. Yeah, I trained MMA for like 3 months, and I lost a decision, but I fought in another promotion where the guy that I fought, it was his fighter. It was his fighter that I fought, so he won by decision. But I don't know if you know Mighty Mouse, but Mighty Mouse is the best, like the best pound for pound fighter. So it was their promotion. It was his fighter or their fighter, and the rounds that they had was 5 minute rounds for the first, and then three for the second. So it was only 2 rounds.
Okay.
So they score overall apparently. So what happened in the first round was I was doing well. I cracked him. I hurt him a couple times, but he was able to take me down and control me for the remainder of the round. In the third round, I was just pretty much beating him up, but he ended up getting the win by decision. So the second MMA fight, I think it was like 2 months after that, I won by TKO in the first or second round. And the third fight was against him again, a rematch, and I ended up winning by decision all 3 rounds. So, and it was a different rule set, right? 3 rounds, and it was on a different promotion and all that. So, and we never had a three, our trilogy. If he wants it right now, he can get it.
He wants the smoke.
No, he's not gonna want the smoke. We talk. He's cool. He's a cool dude, man. We talk on social media and all that stuff, and he's respectful. Most of the guys that we fight are respectful for the most part. Like it's crazy because the only one that I had like issues with is with another guy that I fought with against in Hawaii, and it like sucks because like it was pretty much the whole Hawaii against me, and I'm like, bro, I'm from Hawaii too, man.
I'm from Hawaii.
Yeah, I'm from Lahaina, dude. Like, I'm from this state or from this island. This guy's from a different island. You guys showed me all this hate because he did something illegal. It was pretty like crazy, dude. But that was the only fighter that I ever had like issues with after the fact. Every other fights, it was always like everybody's always respectful.
Share to me, or with me and with the audience, the business of fighting and what you're currently doing in your business. So, how do fighters make money primarily?
So fighters, you don't make money from fighting, even though there's promoters for all that. Let the promoters promote the fight, but you still need to promote your own stuff. Like you're a brand, so you got to
Yep.
promote your own brand. You got to make sure that people want to see you, right? So that's the difference. Like, don't go selling tickets physically for a promotion ever, even if they're gonna pay you $5 per ticket. Ask them how much they're making per ticket that they're selling, right? So don't do that. Promote yourself and your brand, who you are. But you don't have to go sell tickets for a promoter. Don't ask the promoters to give you tickets so you can sell it for them. Nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
You promote yourself. Build your own brand. Take videos of your training, and then send it out to like different endorsements, right? I call it endorsements. One of my good friends, he fought for Bellator. He, talking to that guy, he's like smart dude, man. But he was the one that told me like start changing your vocabulary. Don't call it sponsors, call it endorsements. So to the young fighters, like try to get some endorsements. Go to a brand that you like, maybe Nike, or maybe start small. There's like a lot of local companies coming up that you could work with. If you do that, like the fighters, they gotta understand it's gonna be like a lot of free gear and all that stuff. If you're okay with that, then cool. But if you need money, you gotta know how to negotiate and do all that stuff and talk. If you can't do things like that, see if you have somebody that can do that for you, like a manager, right? You can hire a manager to do all that stuff. But if you do that, you got to make sure that the manager you're working with is the right manager. A lot of managers too, they do a good job at getting you fights, but so when you're fighting, you got to get the right fights. I don't know if does that make sense to you. So Mayweather, right? Whoever. Leonard Ellerby, I think, is his manager. Al Heyman, all those guys work with Mayweather. Granted, people are saying, "Oh, he ducked a lot of people in their prime." And who cares? Where's he at right now? That guy's a billionaire, man. He did what he had to do to be where he's at. And who are people to say like he's not a good person? Like because the media is saying that? Like how do you guys don't know him personally? If you guys know him personally, okay, but you don't. You're just going off the media. So that's the thing that these guys gotta understand too. Like you gotta build your brand. Not everybody's gonna like you with what you're doing, and you're just gonna have to be okay with it too. You're gonna have to have like thick skin, you know.
Yeah.
So
So what are the elements of your business today? Your personal brand.
I'm still figuring things out right now because it was my whole family. Right, we were labeled Fight Fam. It was my ex and my kids. My kids were competing in wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and we all kind of came up together with it. My youngest was 5, I think, 4 years old. She's 18 now. So what is that? 14 years?
This is
No.
the documentary you're referring to, right?
Yeah, the Fight Fam
Fight
documentary.
Fam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we built that. We had that. That was us. Every time people saw us, like, oh, Fight Fam, it's the Fight Fam and all that. Because we all competed. All of us competed, not just in MMA, but jiu-jitsu, wrestling, boxing, the single disciplines and all that. So we lived that. That was our life. But now that my kids got older, they're doing different things. Me and my ex, we split. I'm like myself now. I'm by myself, so I got to figure out what that brand is now. And I think I'm leaning more towards like the coaching side. If I do fight, it's only probably going to be one more fight, which most likely I'm going to fight. And I think it's going to be in January. I don't even really like promote that kind of stuff anymore for myself with the fighting. I have other businesses. I have my Black Mountain business that my younger brother created. We get contracts with the city of Seattle. And then I have another company I started with one of my coaches, All Bros Junk Removal. So we do that with the dump truck. And then I'm trying to get my bounty hunter's license. So that's going to be a third business that I'm starting.
Share with me your involvement with Gracie Barra, because you have some interaction with Gracie Barra, correct?
So the Gracie Baja thing is, so when I started fighting, when I started doing MMA, I think it was like a year that I was fighting, or maybe like 8 months that I was in MMA. And I went 3-0 or 3-1 as an amateur. And then I ended up fighting, I was like 4-1 as an amateur. And then I ended up fighting a wrestler, like a pure wrestler, and then I lost by decision, and I didn't have any marks on my face. Like he pretty much just took me down and was holding me down. And then so one of my friends told, it's crazy, dude. Like I'm still a little bitter about that fight.
Bitter about that, yeah.
I'm very bitter about that fight, and I still want to get that fight back. I think that guy's actually doing well too right now, and maybe he'll take it with me. I'm old enough to, but after that fight was done, one of my friends was like, "Hey man, you're never gonna get to the caliber of wrestling like that guy, because that guy's like a collegiate wrestler, college level wrestler and all that. So you're never gonna get to that level of wrestling. But I can tell you what could help you with your ground is do some jiu-jitsu in the gi. It'll slow things down. And if you get taken down, you could at least threaten with submissions and then end up using the sweep to create a scramble and you stand back up and then use your hands because they're good with your hands." When he said that, I think he was trying to like sell his jiu-jitsu team. So because I was like Googling, he's like, "Dude, just come to my gym." I'm like, "Bro, your gym's way too far, man. Like I'll come check it out maybe once, but like it's too far. I can't make that commute all the time." So I was Googling, and then I found Gracie Baja. I just typed in jiu-jitsu, and then it was the Gracie family. I saw Gracie Baja. I was like, "Oh, Gracie Baja, it's the Gracie family, right? The people that created Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu." So I went to go check those guys out, and then that's what happened pretty much. I met Rodrigo Lopes out there in Seattle, and there was only two gyms out here, two Gracie Baja gyms out here in Washington. It was Bellevue and Seattle, like Soto area, and then now there's like 11 out here.
Yeah,
But
there's one pretty close to me in North Bend. I'm in Snoqualmie, but in North Bend, I think there is or was one. Not
It's a
anymore.
Henzo Gracie now. It was
Yeah.
it was a Gracie Bar. So if you ever go there, Casey Stentz and Lindsay Stentz, they're the owners. It's called Henzo Gracie now. So it's an actual Gracie, Henzo Gracie. So if you do go check that gym out, just tell them, "Hey man, you guys know Dex," and then they'll probably be good with you. You live in where? Snoqualmie?
Snoqualmie, yeah.
All my
And you're in
friends.
Snoqualmie.
I was
I
just
know.
yeah, I was just in North Bend actually for my nephew's first kid.
Nice. Yeah, they have some beautiful baseball games. Were you at the I think it's not Centennial Park. Centennial Park's also very nice. The Torgenson Park. Torgenson with the 4 baseball diamonds out there.
I was at the park with the rock climbing thing.
Yeah. That's Torgenson. Yeah. And you can see Mount Si like right there behind it.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful park.
It's a beautiful park, bro. So it was last week, a couple weeks ago. I was there. My niece, my nephew's sister, like super cute, man. And her and her friend were like talking, and they're like, "Oh, I climb up that rock and all that." And I was like, "You want to do?" It? I was like, "No, I'm good. I'm too old for that." For some odd reason, for some stupid odd reason, my niece talked me into doing it. So I
You
ended up doing
climbed
it
it?
anyways. I didn't go to the whole thing. I went like maybe like a quarter up, but there was another kid that had his all his gear on and was trying to
Yeah.
climb up. And I was like, "Oh hell no, dude! I'm not gonna let this kid pass me." So I was like, "Hold on, let me get down." So I started like climbing down, and then ended up falling off. And then I jumped, and then like I landed on my back, and my niece is like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "I don't think you should do that anymore." And it was like all caught on video. So my cousin was like, "Hey,
Oh no.
post that on your Instagram." I'm like,
Oh
"For
no.
real?" Yeah, well, I did it anyways. It was kind of like everybody was like laughing. Everybody thought that was the funniest thing ever. It is funny, and I don't
Ooh,
mind. Like I don't mind making myself look stupid and stuff like that.
that's
Especially
fun.
like, especially if it's like something to do for my niece and all. You know,
You touched on a little bit of what you're seeing for like business opportunities. What is your vision for your career?
definitely do something good with this business I have with my partner. He's working hard on it, so I want to help him. When it comes to like money and all that, honestly, I don't. I really, for real, don't care about money. It's more about changing people's lives. That's where I'm at right now in my life. Obviously, we need money to live and all that, right? But for me, it's just I just want to change people's lives. I know my younger brother, that's what he was doing before he passed away, and my older brother, he had a kind heart and he was always giving, even if he didn't have anything. But you know, so maybe that's why I don't know, but that's where I'm at right now, just giving back and changing lives.
Do you see your fighting and even health and wellness, fitness playing a role in your giving back?
So I don't know if like these guys would be okay with me saying anything, but I do want to open up a gym, and the goal is to have like troubled youth come into the gym, train for free pretty much, and like have the government be able to pay for all that to pick them up and then bring them to the gym and kind of like get them out of trouble and keep them out of trouble, keep them busy and active, and get them interested in that instead, because like martial arts, man, it changes people, you know. You cannot just come into a martial arts gym and think that you're the shit and you're the man, and if you're not disciplined, you're not gonna end up being able to stay there. You can't go to a jiu-jitsu gym and go 100% and thinking you're the man the whole time and sustain that. You have to humble yourself to be able to like stay there and learn and get better. Because nobody's gonna want to work with you if you're always a man trying to be the man, right? And being a bully. Number two, like I don't think anybody can sustain that, man. Especially if you're getting beat up all the time by these higher belts. When I say beat up, I'm not saying like they're just beating up, like disrespectfully beating up. They're just, you have to go to a jiu-jitsu gym to understand what I mean when I say that. Because when I went to Gracie Barra, bro, it was a black belt woman that weighed 118 pounds that whooped my ass
Hmm.
and submitted me at least like 30 times in a row. And I still kept coming back. And then the guy was wondering why I kept coming back. And I told him like, dude, I fight. Number one, I fight. I'm still an amateur, and like I don't care about the politics. I'm just here to learn, and that's it. I'm not here to steal anybody's training, teachings, or anything like that. I'm just here to learn. I want to get better. That's why I'm here. So, but yeah, it was a woman. It was a woman. Cindy Hills. She
That's
owns.
humbling.
It's very humbling, man. Like I said, 118 pounds. She like she like messed me up, bro. Like Cindy, Rodrigo, like Cindy, go with Dex. He's an MMA guy, and she's like, okay, I got him. Boom, because she fought MMA too, actually. She fought like on the big stage, so she kind of knew what to do. But like,
Yeah.
dude, she submitted me like pop again, go touch, like did fives, 3 seconds, boom, submission.
Wow.
5 6, it was like that.
She had cheat codes. She had a different rule book that you didn't know yet.
Yes, she knew. Yeah, yeah, she did. Yeah,
Right? You
yeah.
just had to learn it.
I had to learn it. Asked her to go with me now, though. I'm just kidding, man. That's funny. I love Cindy, man. She's a good coach, bro. She's a great kids coach. She's a great coach all around. Like her coaching skills are like it's good, man. So, but she's already in Linwood. But if you start doing jujitsu, if you start doing it, or anybody else that want to do jujitsu that lives like around Linwood, look for Sleepers Athletic. And Cindy Hills is the owner for that school, and that's her fight name, Sleeper. Cindy Sleeper Hills.
Sleeper athletic.
Yep. Yeah.
Guillotine athletic. Nice.
Yes, sir.
What are the biggest lessons that you have learned as a fighter that you've taken into the rest of your life?
I gotta steal this from Rocky, but no matter how hard you get hit, you gotta just gotta keep moving forward.
Yeah, I
Right? Keep
love that
taking the
theory.
hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean, yeah, that's it's true. No matter what. Like I've lost some big fights, and I just kept pushing forward. I lost my brothers. My coach, he's a friend of mine too, and like my business partner. I call him my coach because he is the coach when I'm getting ready for fights up here. He was the one that told me, he's like, man, I don't know. He said, I don't know how you do it, man. Like you lost your brothers, and then it seems like when you lose your brothers, you ask for a fight, you take the fight, and you have like 3 4 months to get ready, and it ends up being like title fights too, and you end up winning. Like so, he's like, I don't know how you do that. Like you haven't fought for a while, and your brothers pass away. You decide you want to fight, you take the fight, you put the camp in, and you win the fight, and you win the fight. You win the fights that you're not supposed to win. That happened like twice. No matter how hard you get hit, you just gotta keep moving forward, right? All kinds of stuff can happen, man. I mean, like I'm going through a recent split, and that hit me hard, but I'm still
Mhm.
moving forward. I'm still doing my thing, so I'm still like trying to get and start to open another business, and you know, my kids are older now, so it's just me. And like I don't think people understand that. Like I built my life around my kids and my ex. It's not there anymore, right? There's no fight fam anymore. It's just me. So now I got to figure out what me is and what I'm gonna do. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in the next 5 to 10 years from now. Hopefully it's gonna be something big and something good.
I'm sure it will be, Dex. I mean, even just from the 40 minutes talking to you, I know that you are going to apply the lessons that you have learned as a fighter, right? When you get hit, you keep going to get back up and reinvent yourself. You've already done it. You've already done it multiple times, and you're going to do it again. I know that.
Appreciate that.
For sure, for sure. All right, Dex, thank you so much, sir.